Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're jumping into the Uyghur Nowruz Festival.
Right. We've got some really detailed sources here looking at, its origins, how it developed, all the customs, and really what it means.
And we know you, our listener, want to get a good handle on things quickly but thoroughly. So this deep dive, it's designed to give you that comprehensive but hopefully really engaging picture.
Absolutely. It's a fascinating mix, isn't it?
Yeah.
History, culture, even these hints of older spiritual paths all woven together.
It really is. We're talking about something ancient but still very much alive in Uyghur culture today.
Exactly. So maybe we should start with the name Nowruz.
Good idea. Where does that come from?
Well, it traces back to the Persian Nowruz. That means spring rain, or sometimes the first day of spring.
Okay.
But in Uyghur, it's generally understood as New Day, which, fits perfectly because it marks the spring equinox around March 21st.
Ah, so right at that balance point of the year. Equal day, equal night, a new beginning.
Precisely. Like hitting reset. And even though the word has Persian roots, the Uyghur meaning really leans into that idea of renewal.
So it's not just the name, the celebration itself goes back even further, before Islam.
Oh, much further. You have links to the worship of Tengri, the sky god, in ancient Turkic belief system.
Tengri, right.
And they look to the stars. The rising of a specific star, Aquaza, around March 21st, was seen as like a sign of blessing. That timing became fixed for Nowruz.
So these big celestial events were kind of natural markers for them.
Yeah, exactly. And it wasn't just the sky god. There were older layers, too. Nature worship, ancestor worship, totemism, shamanism. A whole complex picture before the major world religions arrived.
That's incredible. It sounds like a real layering of beliefs over time.
It is. The Uyghurs have journeyed through Manichaeism, Zoroastrianism, Buddhism, and then Islam. But the key thing is, those earlier beliefs didn't just disappear. You still see, well, echoes of them,
Yeah.
especially in customs and festivals like Nowruz.
Okay, that's where it gets really interesting. Our sources actually mention historical records, don't they? Like really early ones.
They do. The history of the northern dynasties, for example, talks about Uyghur tribes holding these big Tengri worship ceremonies way back in the 5th century AB.
Wow, the 5th century. That's amazing continuity. What does that tell us about why these spring gatherings stuck around for so long?
Well, I think it speaks to a really fundamental human need, doesn't it? Connecting with nature's cycles, celebrating together that spiritual element.
Yeah.
It transcends specific doctrines.
And it wasn't just solemn worship, right? There was music and dance, too.
Absolutely. The Book of Way mentions their love for music and dance, even during worship. It paints a picture of a culture that's both spiritual and, very expressive.
It makes sense it wasn't created in isolation. It was part of a bigger picture in Central Asia.
Definitely. The sources point out these shared roots with Persian cultures and how widespread Nowruz was, even back in the Achaemenid Empire, 6th century BCE. That's ancient Persia having a huge influence there.
So it's this massive region-wide thing marking the turn of the seasons.
Right. And the Zoroastrian calendar even had like a small Nowruz and a great Nowruz. They eventually merged under the Sassanids, extending the celebration. It just shows how important marking this time was across different groups.
And we know it wasn't just folk tradition. Big names, scholars wrote about it centuries ago.
Yeah, people like Mahmud al-Kashgari, Yusuf Khas Harjib, Alisher Navoy,
Hmm.
they all mention Nowruz. Navoy even talks about the specific musical form, the Nowruz Muqam.
A specific mukwam for Nowruz. That shows how deeply embedded it was.
Exactly. It's woven right into the culture. You find Nowruz in place names, book titles, even people's names. It's really stuck.
The sources give some great specific examples. Kashgari mentioning lamb pulling games in the month after Nowruz.
Right. Oglagai.
And that story about Genghis Khan's coronation happening during Nowruz, it gives it real historical weight.
So, given all this history, why has it remained so central? The sources suggest it's seen as a blessed time, sacred even, a time for doing good.
That's a lovely idea. Starting the year right sets the tone. Like building schools or bridges.
Yeah, or copying sacred texts, socially beneficial things. There's an example of a manuscript that Mitra Simet copied during Nowruz back in the 10th century because it was considered an auspicious time.
Wow.
And another scholar, Abguzi, finished his major work, the Qisas al-Rabguzi, on what he called a blessed Nowruz day. It shows this deep link between the festival and positive actions.
And it filters down to personal things too, like naming children born around then, after Nowruz, or spring themes.
Exactly. Names like Nowruz itself, or Nur, Chimen, Bahar. It connects the individual to that spirit of renewal right from birth.
It seems there's a really strong community focus as well. Wishing each other well, sharing skills.
Yes, artisans teaching apprentices, the writing of Nowruznama and the madrasas, it's all about connection and starting fresh. And despite all the historical changes, that core feeling, the joy, the community that seems to endure.
You can feel it in the descriptions, can't you? This idea from songs and poems that a good start leads to a good year. And hospitality, of course, welcoming the new season together.
All this meaning and history comes alive in the customs. The 9 ceremonial events, the Tukwiz Meriki Murasim.
Okay, the 9 big traditions. Let's break those down. What's first?
First up is Nowruz drumming, Nowruz Migrisi. Basically, announcing the festival has arrived. Drums, horns. You hear it everywhere, setting the mood.
Right, a big, loud signal kicks things off. Then what?
Then comes Nowruz cleaning, Nowruz Tazaliki, a massive cleanup. Homes, clothes, bedding, even public areas get tidied. It's that physical act of preparing for renewal.
A fresh start, literally. Very symbolic.
Exactly. Then there's something really unique,
Hmm.
cold chasing, Suvukoflash.
Cold chasing. What's that?
Young men go around with lanterns, singing funny songs, sort of mocking the winter cold, welcoming spring. They light bonfires, dance, and people give them a special meal called hardokeshi, around dawn.
Huh. That sounds brilliant. Literally chasing the cold away. What's number 4?
Number 4 is visiting, yoklash. On Nowruz morning, people visit family, neighbors, and also pay respects at grave sites. Importantly, they also make time for the elderly, orphans, people with disabilities, really strengthening those community ties.
That's lovely. A real focus on connection and care.
Absolutely. And then, well, you can't have a celebration without food. So number 5 is the Nowruz feast, Nowruz Eshi.
Ah, the food. What's special about it?
The star dish is Nowruz Eshi itself, a kind of porridge made with 7 types of grain and jujube. And there's Nowruz soup, also with 7 ingredients, often dried fruits and meat. That number 7 keeps popping up, seems symbolic.
7 grains, 7 ingredients. Interesting. What happens after the feast at home?
Well, often the celebration moves outdoors. That's the Nowruz Tiknek, Nowruz Silisi. Whole villages or neighborhoods head out together to scenic spots.
Oh, nice. Getting out into nature as it wakes up.
Exactly. It starts with greetings, maybe sharing special Nowruz water, then everyone travels out. It feels very communal, very joyful.
I can picture it. What happens at these picnics?
They're big events. You'll see stalls set up, huge pots of Nowruzeshi cooking, families sharing food. The meal itself is special too. People sit in a circle, leave a symbolic door open for the food.
Ah, door?
Yeah, like an opening in the circle. They share the food, say prayers for a good year, talk about farming, the harvest. It's both celebratory and grounded.
Very communal and connected to the land.
And then there's the entertainment.
Yeah.
Musicians playing Nowruz songs, mukwam, lots of dancing.
Sounds lively.
Oh, it is. Storytellers, the Dastanchis, telling epic tales, often with their students learning beside them. Wrestling competitions, they award a title. Kuftingur. Acrobats on ropes. Hunters singing traditional songs.
Wow.
Goat wrestling, horse racing, kids flying kites. The whole place just comes alive.
A real feast for the senses. Music, stories, games.
Definitely. But it's not just fun and games. In some places, like Opal, there's a history of educational activities too. The Nowruz Spring there was apparently a spot for scholars to gather.
So learning and wisdom are part of it too, not just celebration.
Exactly. And there are specific cultural games. A water splashing game meant to ward off evil spirits. A bread in the spring game, trying to catch blessed bread and water, apparently. And a talisman finding game, often involving poetry. Plus, proper poetry contests led by scholars.
It's amazing how it all weaves together, the spiritual side, the community fun, the games, the learning.
And maybe the most important thread running through it all, especially today, is that Nowruz is seen as this secular tradition that really fosters unity. It's a time to forgive old arguments, reconcile people.
Bending fences, basically.
Yeah, and it helps keep older traditions alive too, like certain games. The Sargeti Pishti game is mentioned.
So it's so much more than just a spring festival. It's really fundamental to Uyghur identity, isn't it? A time for renewal on all levels, nature, community, individuals.
That's it perfectly. You've got this amazing blend of the really ancient pre-Islamic stuff like reverence for nature, the stars seamlessly mixed with later cultural influences, maybe some Islamic touches too. It all creates this unique celebration.
Yeah, that blend is fascinating. And the strong community spirit, that focus on both celebration and doing good, those really stand out.
Absolutely. Key takeaways for sure.
And for you, our listener, wanting that solid but, digestible understanding, we really hope this deep dive has illuminated just how rich and significant the Uyghur Nowruz Festival is.
And maybe a final thought to leave you with. Think about how these ancient ways of marking the seasons, like Nowruz, still resonate. How do they continue to shape who people are, how communities function even today? It makes you reflect on the enduring power of tradition, doesn't it?
Yeah.
How it connects us across time.